Unmanageability starts right here in my brain. I know this book back and forth, side to side. On 59, it states, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol and that our lives had become unmanageable. Hi, I'm Kevin Hubbard, and this is my recovery story. My sobriety date, which is just as important as my birthday, is June 28th, 2000. And from that day to this day, I found no reason whatsoever to pick up any mind or mood altering substances. Going back to my life before going into recovery, as a child, I could see that my behavior was a bit off. I noticed a lot of anger as I look back at my life. I had a lot of resentment towards my parents. They would leave us at my grandmother's, leave us at my aunt's house. A lot of things happened to me as a kid. When I was about 6 years old, a female babysitter molested me. As a kid, my uncle, he was actively using drugs when we were younger, but he would tie us in the basement to a pole. He'd pour lighter fluid around our feet. He'd make these devil noises and just like terrify us as kids. I found myself not really being social with people. Like anybody that would try to be friends to me, I would try to hurt them physically. I'd bully everybody in the neighborhood. And where I grew up on Lee and Harvard, everybody pretty much predicted an early departure from this world for me because I was just that bad of a kid at the age of 9 and 10 years old. I was terrible. Growing up, we moved from there out to Orange Village out in Pepper Pike, and it was an entirely different atmosphere. So I have to adjust to life, which it was very difficult for me. I had a hard time adjusting to different changes in life because I'm so comfortable in doing and being where I'm at, what I'm doing, who I'm with, and life isn't set up like that. There's a huge world out there, and like I said, it's gonna come a point where I had to figure it out. My first encounter with drugs was at the age of 13. I had an older cousin. He indulged in all kind of stuff. He had given me a joint of angel dust. And at the time, when I smoked it, it felt as though I couldn't breathe. I was dying. And he was trying to take me out to see this movie. I don't know what kind of hallucinating reaction I would have had being in this movie. I didn't go. I called my mother immediately. My mother came to pick me up. She took me home. I sat at the table for maybe 4 hours. I couldn't even move. She was talking to me. I could barely hear her talking. And she's asking me, are you okay? And I couldn't really say anything because I wasn't okay. After that, I made a vow, never again will I touch any more drugs. I'll stop cursing. I'll stop smoking cigarettes. These are all the promises that I would make to God if he got me out of this situation. But I never made the changes. And that was from the age of 8 years old, and I didn't get sober till I was 38 years old. So that was 30 years of empty promises and empty resolutions that I made to make changes in my life. But the thing is, and the reality of life was, I didn't want to make any changes. And like I said, I didn't know I suffered from a disease of addiction. My problem is my thinking. I make real bad decisions. And when you add drugs and alcohol on top of it, it gets completely worse. I went to, graduated from high school, went down to Ohio University. And Ohio University is known as a party school. And I had a major in social history and social science. But that wasn't something I wanted to do. My dad wanted me to be a lawyer. I didn't want to be a lawyer. So me trying to please my dad, I'm going to school for him, but it's not for anything that I wanted to do. I didn't want to be a lawyer. And The next thing I knew, I wasn't going to class, but I was at the bar every day. And my reason and purpose for being in school was to see how drunk and high I could get, not to see how good I could do with my grades. And I was real good at putting on a mask with my parents, making them think everything was okay. But in reality, it wasn't okay because I was just being drunk and high and doing all kind of crazy things in college. I got out of school after 5 years of staying there. I shorted myself on a degree by maybe 4 credit hours. When I came back, in between me being in school and getting back home, my parents had divorced. He's mad because my mom leaves. He tells me, look, you got a week to be here once you get home, and you're gonna have to figure out somewhere to stay. At the time, my mom was with somebody. I wasn't welcome to be there, so I had to figure it out. So my cousin came with a plan, let's move out of town. We went down to Atlanta, and now I'm trying these geographical cures. I'm going to these different states thinking Cleveland's the problem. If I just get away from Cleveland, everything's gonna straighten out. Stayed in Atlanta for about a year or two. Things got pretty bad. But the thing that, like, the straw that broke the camel's back with me, it was right before I went into detox. There was a guy in the neighborhood, and he sold dope. He would come by, and he'd bring his dog over there. He had a puppy, a pit bull puppy. And he would bring this dog to my house, and he would have me bathe his dog, right? And when I bathed the dog, he would give me a piece of crack. Mind you, I hadn't taken a bath in a month, but I was bathing this dog every day. I wasn't brushing my teeth for months. The dog ate up my Timberland boots. I had some brand new Timberlands I had just bought, $150. And when the dog ate my boots, I had no other shoes to go out in the snow but some tennis shoes. You know what I told the guy to do? Give me another little piece, man, it's okay. I'm bigger than that. I'm better than that. And I was better than what I was doing. And I said, I gotta do something about this. But you know what? I couldn't do it. I couldn't stop. Because the disease that I suffer from, it's progressive. After that incident, I went to detox. I talked to the guy a couple days later. They asked me, they said, well, what are you willing to do to stay sober? And the same answer that I gave them is the same answer that I require from people that ask me to help them. Anything. Because one thing for sure, and two things for certain, when it came to getting high and getting drunk, I was willing to do anything. Being sober is an individual choice. It all depends on your desire to want to change your situation. So the thing is, I had to be willing to do whatever was necessary for me to stay sober. That's why I don't listen to me. I pray and ask God for the open-mindedness to listen to other people. That's how my life got where it's at today, listening to other people, not listening to me. I had no plans of my life ever being as peaceful and as nice as it is today. Could I do it by myself? No. I had plenty of help when I got here. But the reality of it was, when I first got here, I didn't know any of these people that were helping me. When you're out in the streets, guess what? You don't trust a lot of people. You can't. People that take advantage of you out there. They'll take advantage of you. And what you think people care about you, they really don't. And that's just how the disease is. It cares about nothing. Like I said, the disease is undefeated. It never loses. It continuously wins. And its main purpose is to kill me. My mind, and it's not the drugs, it's my mind. My mind is out to kill me on a daily basis. I had a friend last week up in the crack house. Hit a piece of dope with some fentanyl in it, got sick. They pulled him out, dragged him out in the street, laid him out on the sidewalk, and called 911 and told him come get him. That's how much they care about you up in one of these crack houses or one of these shooting galleries where you're shooting some dope. They don't care nothing about you. So the thing is, I didn't trust anybody when I got here. I didn't even trust myself. But I just prayed and asked God to help me remain willing to do what was necessary for me to stay sober a day at a time. I just have to know I can't have it. I have friends that drink. I can't shun them because that's what they choose to do. They're still my friends. And the people that I choose to call friends, they love me enough to tell anybody he doesn't drink. They won't let you offer me anything to drink because they don't want to see me like that anymore. So my advice to anybody wanting to get sober, find you a sponsor that you're comfortable with, not somebody you're gonna lie to, that you're uncomfortable sharing everything with, and be willing to put in the work. And the work is applying the 12-step program. That's it. That's as simple as it gets. Find you a higher power, get you a sponsor, and apply a 12-step program. This book here, this one I need to, put the tape on it, and because it just has legs of its own. But this book here has all the answers to every question that you ever want to know. The first 164 pages of this book, I've applied to my life, and what the information did for me, it changed me completely as a person. This is the book of recovery. This is the program. And I live by this. I live by what this book tells me when it comes to this. I tell guys, everything that you're getting ready to try to do, I've done it for you. I've slept in abandoned houses. I've eaten out of garbage cans. I mean, I've done the gamut of the craziest things. You name it. I mean, whatever goes along with drugs, I've done. I didn't do any prison, but I've done pretty much every state jail in every state that I've been in. I've been in California. I've been in Atlanta. I've been in Detroit. I've been in D.C., Maryland, Virginia. Every municipality, I've probably been in their jail. DUI, drunk, or possession of dope, or, trying to sell dope, whatever. But I never, through God's grace, never did any prison time. If you would have told me at the age of 18 that me in college, drinking beers and snorting cocaine and smoking marijuana, I would wind up 20 years later smoking crack, sleeping in abandoned houses, eating out of garbage cans, destroying all the trust my family had for me, losing all the respect everybody has for me, I wouldn't have never did it. But the reality of it is, it was too late because the seed had already been planted when I first started. I was dealing with a disease of addiction that I had no idea that I had inside of me. But if you're stuck with a disease of addiction and you don't do anything about it, and you see it getting worse and worse and worse, then possibly you might have it. So my advice to anybody, if you can't handle it, don't start. My first experience with cocaine in college, my nose was bleeding. But I was steady putting cocaine in my nose while it was bleeding. But that was me and the disease that I had no idea of what I was stuck with. During me being involved in drugs and alcohol, I've put myself in countless life or death situations. But there's one that stands out in particular. When I was down in D.C., I was at home, I'm sad, I'm lonely. I said, I'm gonna go down and get me some dope. I go down to D.C. On the way, I picked a young lady up. We're driving down, pull up there, I get out the car. Now, mind you, I'm kind of new at smoking crack because when you're buying crack, you're not in Walmart, you're not at Best Buy. There's no need for you to pull out your wallet, your credit cards, and your cash. When I pulled out a $100 bill to give to this guy to buy this dope, all my hundreds came up with the $100 bill. So the guy's eyes got huge as a basketball. and there were like 5 other guys standing around. Immediately, they chased me to my car. So I ran towards the van. They grabbed me. One guy had me by my neck. One guy had this arm. One guy had this arm. One guy had that leg. One guy had that leg. And one guy was trying to get my wallet out. There was a guy standing over me, behind me, and he had a shovel. And they were chanting, "Kill him, kill him, kill him." And only through God's grace did they allow me off the ground. I'm not sure what happened or what it was, but the next thing I know, they all let me go. I got up, but there was one guy that wasn't letting it go. But my money came out, and they said he has more money. So the guy's chasing me around this van. I'm running around the van. The guy's chasing me. So the young lady's inside, and I'm telling her, "Start the car, pull off, I'll meet you." She tells me she can't drive. And eventually, the guy chased me so much, he threw in the towel, and I got back in the van, and I pulled off. When I left there, I went immediately and bought some dope, went home, got high. I was already drunk, fell asleep frying chicken in my house, and burnt my house up. And that's only through God's grace. The same night that I almost got killed there, I almost died in my apartment from smoke inhalation. And that's a story that really stands out to me when it comes to some dope. Over these 20 years, like a lot of things has happened. I've gotten married, a beautiful wife. I mean, best friend, beautiful person, and along with her, a daughter-in-law, 2 grandkids, and I had a son-in-law, but he just passed. He had a heart attack. No drugs involved. He just had an enlarged heart. We had gone on a cruise maybe 3-4 months prior to him dying, and he just dropped dead, man. But that's life. How life is today, and what do I do to stay sober? I'm the best uncle I can be to my nephews. I'm the best son I could be to my mom. I'm the best brother I could be to my sister. I'm the best friend that I can be to my friends. I sponsor guys. I have some that stick, and I have some that don't. Whatever their choice is, I can't make them stay sober. All I can do is be an example to them. I can put the tools at your feet, and it's your job, once I put it in your life, for you to continue with it. I'm a facilitator at a lot of big book discussions. I speak at plenty of, I've probably spoken at maybe, I'd say at least 500 to 1,000 meetings, easy, because I'm constantly getting asked to speak here, speak there, and I guess it's something that God gives me to say that people want to hear. I'm going to tell you the truth. It's up to you whether you want to accept the truth or whether you want to hear lies, but I don't have time to lie to anybody. If you don't do anything about it, something bad's going to happen to you. I can't predict what bad's going to be in anyone's life, but I know if I would have kept involving myself in some drugs and alcohol, I'd be dead. I'm nothing like I was 20 plus years ago. Nothing like that. I'm an entirely different person. And I owe the change to who I call my higher power, which is God. He changed me. It wasn't me. I couldn't change myself. I tried to change myself. I don't have the ability to change myself. No one has that ability. You can't change yourself. I hear people say it all the time. I got to get myself together. You can't get yourself together. You got to have help. But like I said, when I applied the 12-step program and I started getting creative and trying to help people to the best of my ability, it's just not people at the meetings. It's like going to grocery stores. It's going into a Walmart. It's anywhere. I'm trying to be helpful to anybody because I appreciate everything that God does for me. Because I thank him for everything. Like I told my buddy last night, I thank God for everything, especially for allowing me to find out who I am. There's just one thing that I just want anybody that's thinking about getting in recovery, thinking about making a change in their life, first of all, do it for yourself. Because outside of that, it won't work. At the end of the day, there's nobody that I have to prove that I'm staying sober for. I do it because this is the way I choose to live. If you're not ready, don't play with yourself. That's all I can tell anybody. Don't play with yourself. But if you're ready, give it 100% of your effort. If you think you're an atheist, an agnostic, a skeptic, or have any other form of intellectual pride which keeps you from accepting what is in this book, I feel sorry for you. If you still think you're strong enough to beat the game alone, that is your affair. But if you really and truly want to quit drinking liquor for good and all, and sincerely feel you must have some help, we know that we have an answer for you. It never fails. If you go about it with one half the zeal you have been in the habit of showing when you're going to get another drink, your Heavenly Father will never let you down. And I believe that. If you put in half the effort, your higher power gonna put in the other half of this effort for you. And you just stay sober a day at a time. And that's all I can say.